Welcome, everyone, to a brand new episode of the Action Movie Guys podcast, episode 449. We're up to the final film of this franchise watch of RoboCop. We're up to the reboot from 2014 of RoboCop. I'm your host, Adam Figueroa. My co-host is
Nate from Netflix Reviews.
All right, Nate, I know we both saw this in the theater, but what was your initial reaction when you first saw it in the theater?
I saw this at the theater. I liked it. I remember liking it. I mean, I was in my 20s at that point, so like anything with like action, and I wasn't even like a huge fan of the original RoboCop at the time. So that movie I really saw and got more enjoyment out of a little bit later. So yeah, I liked it when I first saw it. This is my first time watching it in 10 years. I haven't seen it since then.
Oh, all right. Well, when I saw it in the theater, I was like, first, when I saw the first trailer drop, I was like, oh, I'm going to the theater, right? Me and my wife went. It was mixed reactions from what I remember. I remember coming out of the theater enjoyed. I was like, wow, this is pretty good. Yep. Now, it wasn't the best remake ever, but I was entertained. I was like, this is pretty good. Now, it's been ages since I've seen this movie. Dust, I do have the Steelbook Blu-ray version of this movie, which I do have. And then the 4K came out, which is the first time you're watching on 4K.
Yep.
So I really want to talk about this movie. On the rewatch, I was like, there's some stuff I want to talk about. I really want to talk about it. So with that said, financially, this movie was actually pretty good financially. $100 million budget, worldwide of $242 million. Now, it's not a huge success. It's not in the bracket of 400 and 300, but kind of moderate plus Blu-rays and 4K sales. Kind of a semi-success, and I can't see why they did not greenlight a sequel. But anyway, with that said, are you shocked with these numbers?
No, I remember because this was at the time when these, like Total Recall, this one, they were remaking all these 80s movies in those, the 2010s. And they all like did pretty good, so I'm not that surprised. And as far as sequels go, the way this movie ends, it barely ends. You would think there was going to be another one, and then there's not. So I mean, I'm not a big fail, not a bomb, but maybe they were just like, we thought it would make more, so they didn't make a sequel.
The thing is like, I felt like the public perception, I guess is a good way to say it, the public perception of movies nowadays, and even going back to 2010, anything that's a remake or a franchise IP gets hit with negative off the bat. I mean, I remember this thing was getting slammed by The Suit, the storyline. Oh my God, it's the same thing as 1987. Oh, this is so stupid. They can't come up with something new. And I'm like, well, how are you going to get the guy in the suit?
Right.
Like, he's going to have to get killed somewhere, somehow. And guess what? Getting shot is the only way. But he does get blown up. But again, it's one of those things that it's with every IP, even going up to our current generation, whenever it's a remake, negativity just follows right
it's
with
the nature of remakes. And the problem is, it comes when they remake movies people like. That's where it's like, well, I like the original. So now if you change too much, you've ruined it. And if you don't change enough, then you're just making the same movie. So it's pointless. Yeah. So it's a tough line. I will say I lean more towards liking remakes of bad movies or movies that could have been good and then they remake it instead of making perfect. Like we did RoboCop. We gave it like perfect scores just about. Like you're not going to improve on it. So at best, you're going to make something slightly less good or bad, right? So I get it, but also I don't like when people don't like at least see the movie, give it its own chance, right? And then make your decision. But you're right. Before the movie came out, oh, there's another remake. Oh, remake. Well, don't watch it then. Just don't watch it.
Yeah, I mean, you said it right. Yeah. The best way to adapt movies is to make movies that did not work.
Right.
Maybe new screenwriters and new special effects artists can now bring to life what couldn't work the first time.
Right.
Night of the Creeps. Oh, that would be so awesome as a remake.
That was like a failure. See, that movie was like a box office failure. That would be something you say, hey, you know what? This didn't hit, but it got a story that could hit. And you remake that. That makes a lot more sense than this movie's considered a classic. Let's do it again. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of weird.
And I agree with you. It's very weird. But anyway, what did the critics and audience have to say about this movie?
Well, this is hilarious because the increases are insane from the last movie, but that's because the last movie was absolutely horrific. If you remember, it had a critic score of 9%. So it has a huge jump, 41%, but that only takes it to 50. So that being said, this is the second highest critic score of the franchise. It's higher than 2 and 3, obviously not as high as 1. And then with the audiences, almost the exact same score. This has a plus 34% with a 49. So, I mean, if we round it, it's pretty much a 50 and a 50, 50-50, which makes this movie a 50-50 movie. movie. Half liked it, half didn't like it. That would also be, I think that's also the second highest score for audiences. I think all the other ones had like pretty bad Rotten Tomato scores. So
yeah, honestly, I would say this movie is a 50-50 because when you talk to people, some people like it, some people hate it, some people be like, I've never seen it. So it's like, it's one of those like, where do you fall on the pendulum of this RoboCop remake? So I can't wait to tell you where I fall under, and Nate's going to tell you where he falls under. So let's start it all off.
Yes.
With Alex Murphy, a new actor going in the role of Peter Wellers.
Yeah, Joel Kinnaman is the actor. Yep. Tall dude. That guy's tall. Okay. You know what? This was weird. When I was watching this movie, and I was like, I haven't seen this in 10 years. But while I was watching it, I was kind of remembering stuff. I was like, I remember this. But one thing I said in the first movie was, I wish we spent more time with Alex Murphy before he became RoboCop.
And his family. Yeah.
This movie does that. However, it almost does too much of it. And that might sound weird, but like, I liked it. While I was watching it, I was like, okay, look, this is what I wish the first movie had. He goes home, he got a kid. Like, Peter Weller don't spend no time with his kid as Alex Murphy. He only sees him in flashbacks and as RoboCop, right? So I like that. You get this guy's doing a job. You show it. Lewis is now a guy instead of a girl. Don't really care. It's fine. Michael Caine a great actor anyway. So you see him with his partner Lewis, and they're doing like undercover stuff. And then he goes home. He got a pretty wife. He got a kid. It shows you that stuff. Then the inciting incident happens, and then you still get more stuff before he becomes RoboCop with the wife. So I did like it, but I do feel like while the first movie didn't have enough of it, this one had a hair too much of non-RoboCop. That being said, I gave him a 4. I still think it is a good character, a really good character, a strong, and I think Joe Kinnaman's good in the role. I don't really have a problem with his performance. I always kind of like him. He's in a lot of these sort of like gritty, like action movies and thriller movies. Yeah, he always plays a cop, I feel like. So I like him. He has a good look. He's tall, like I said. He has a cool voice. He talks like a black guy, even though he's white, but it seems natural. Like, it doesn't seem like he's putting on. So I like a lot of it, and I do like that we got more of that. The movie's kind of long, too. I could have used like 10 minutes less, because it's like a good like half hour before he's really like RoboCopping it up. Where in the first movie, that dude's RoboCop in like 15 minutes. He's already in the suit. So yeah, but I did like him. I gave him a 4.
All right. So I'm with you. I dug him. I don't know. It's a modern, first of all, it's a modern remake. So you have to sit down and watch this thing with those type of eyes. You can't go, okay, is he going to sound like Peter Weller? Like, no, he ain't going to have that voice modulator. Like, they're not going to give him that. But certain points, I thought it worked. I liked him. And I agree. I did like the whole, him and his family. I'm okay with it because in a real situation, I felt like you're going to get the same amount of the family in real life. Like, you're going to want to see your dad. You want to, the wife wants him back, and that she's going to be fighting with the company and all that. So I get it. I kind of dig it though. I love them being detectives. They go undercover. I love that. They mess with the mob and they needed to knock him off. I love the corrupt cops. They were like, I don't know. I just felt like everything to me worked very well in this movie with the lead characters. To me, it did. I thought Alex Murphy was really good. One thing with RoboCop, the 87 version was more man and machine. Like, he's fighting that whole, like, he's becoming a robot type. Like, this one, he's a straight up robot. Like, when they took the chemical imbalance thing and they pumped it up, and he literally he didn't know his family. I was just like, yo, this is pretty dope. I like the mannerisms of that, because you can see the two parallels of the movie. Like, you're going, oh, this is kind of similar, but it's like, no.
And do you like the design of RoboCop in this?
Oh,
the suit?
That's something we could talk about.
Yeah, because it's got a character.
Yeah, the suit wise, I will say I was 50-50. Like, I like the 80s version because it felt more robotic.
Yeah.
But then I like this one because it felt more futuristic. Like, he's skinnier, right? And then remember when he said, take me apart, and then you see his lung is only working and like one arm.
It's like his lungs, his throat, and his head. That's it.
Which we never got to see with RoboCop.
Right.
Like, we never got to see the breakdown. So for me, I'm very 50-50. I do love the original design.
Yeah.
But if you're going to make him run and be more agilic and doing all this stuff that a robot could do, you're not you can't do it in that big ass suit. But the skinny version, I'm like, okay.
I'll say this. There's that scene where they're showing the different models and they have the combat mode and it looks exactly like the original. Here's what I wish.
They put it on them.
I wish the helmet was the same, but the body I'm okay with being like the newer look.
The thin?
Yeah, I don't like the helmet in this. I don't like the skinny line. It looks like an alien to me. It doesn't look like I don't love that. Other than that, I like from the neck down, I actually like it. And I liked when it was silver at the beginning. When you make it black, I don't like it as much, but I don't hate it. I'm kind of with you. I don't hate it. I don't like the mask though. I wish the mask was the original mask. Like
but I thought it went back to it once they destroyed it, and then in the new version. Remember when he met the family at the end? It was a new model.
Yeah,
he had the new.
He's silver again, but they never
87.
showed him with the helmet again.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But they went back to the silver. It was cool.
I kind of did like the whoop, it went up.
I like how it functioned. I just wish it had like the thicker lens. I didn't like the little skinny line. It looked like an alien.
Okay.
Yeah. Other than that, I liked it.
Yeah, I did too. I thought it was 50-50. Yeah. Now, can I ask you a question? Yeah. Were you bothered with him riding the motorcycle over the car? I thought the motorcycle worked. To me, it worked.
It also is in a cool action scene, so I was cool with it. I mean, look, if they're going for sleek and slender, which seemed to be what they were going for, then the motorcycle makes sense, right? Also, in the 80s, if he would have on a motorcycle, it would have been like a sit.
Well, we did that in part 2, remember?
Yeah, and it was weird. It was like a sit up, motorcycle. Yeah. So I think it works for this movie. I like the motorcycle.
Yeah, I kind of like the flashing red lights, the cop light. I was like, this actually worked for me. I was like, okay. I mean,
no problem.
Yeah, I was fine with that too. All right. Yeah. All right.
What'd you give it?
4 across the board.
Oh, okay, 4.
4. Yeah, I gave it a 4. Main villain.
All right. You know what? I don't care. I'm gonna take a dip here. I don't. I gave the villains a 5 in the original. The mob guy sucks in this movie. He sucks.
Oh yeah.
He's nothing. Yeah. We had Red Foreman in the first one. Kurtwood Smith, the actor, amazing, despicable. You hate him. Here, literally, the dude goes and meets him at a restaurant. He walks out. His henchmen shoot at him, and then one of his henchmen plants a bomb, blows him up. RoboCop ends up killing him like halfway through the movie. Like, useless. I mean, because this is very similar. It's like similar and different to the original movie. So this is the similar part where there's like criminals, cops, corporation, right? The criminal part, horrible. I don't like it. I could have liked it, but I don't like that guy. I didn't like the actor. Like, he's nothing, and then he dies halfway through. On the corporation side, we got Michael Keaton. Now, Michael Keaton, great, but that guy in the original was great too. That old guy, he was.
Oh yeah, Ronnie Cox.
Yeah, Ronnie Cox, dude. Like, and no knock on Michael Keaton. He was Michael Keaton was almost too nice. If that makes sense. Like, he didn't seem evil. He got greedy. He did some shady stuff. Your husband's dead. Sorry, he's not dead. He's alive. But he never was like really, really bad. He always seemed like he was teetering the line.
Yeah.
So while the performance is good, and then you had like Jay Baruchel and the other lady as like, they were okay. Everyone was okay. The crooked cop element was actually interesting, which that's not really in the first one much. The 2 guys that are helping, and then the police chief, like the black lady. But again, like, don't even really get a resolution to that. So I gave it a 3. Like, I think it's okay, but I think the villain element in the first one's better for me.
You said it all. I gave it a 3 too. Okay. I was just like, first I thought Michael Keaton was more villain, but you're right. If you break it down, the criminals first, you're right. That mob boss stinks.
He sucked.
Dope scene, but it was horrible. The crooked cop element I thought was pretty fun. I wish it was more dirty cops that he was like cracking down in the force. I thought it would have been great. It would have been a cool scene. Yeah, it would have been a dope scene. Him just walking in.
He shot the one guy. He tased the other one. Imagine if he just did it to a bunch of people. You're under arrest.
That would have been dope. For the murder of like Huang something. But anyway,
don't move, creep.
Yeah, I agree. The crooked cop element was cool. The twist with the captain thought worked.
Yep.
I was like, okay, that was pretty cool. And when he was about to shoot the bitch, they turned his ass off. Yeah. So I thought that was pretty cool. Freddy Krueger was
he was
annoying.
kind of a villain too. Jackie or Haley. Yeah.
I did not like it. I did not like him, brother.
Yeah.
I did not like him. He was annoying.
Yeah.
He was like Tin Man picking on him. And I was just
then he lost in that game, and then they still put him in charge. It's like, bro, he beat you in that little with 900 robots helping you.
I will say this: Rodney Cox over Michael Keaton. The reason why Rodney Cox was a douche was because he wasn't the head of OCP. He wasn't the head of him.
Yeah.
He was just the guy under him.
That's true.
So then you had the other guy that created RoboCop come and takes his shine because remember, Ed 209 fucked up in front of the entire board.
Yeah.
And they were like, he was like, wait, I have a project ready to go. We just waiting for somebody to die. Pretty much.
True.
Right? This one, there was no one that created RoboCop. Yes, you got Gary Oldman,
but he didn't do it for nefarious reasons.
That's the thing. I did not like.
He's a good guy.
Well, first of all, Gary Oldman, great actor. I was like
100%.
If he created RoboCop, I would be like, fuck it, yeah, because I felt it. He was good.
Yeah,
but I didn't like that he worked in a department. He was like the Lucius Fox of Wayne Enterprises. Like he worked in a department for the guys that get their arms cut off and leg cut off. Like he's an animatronic type guy with the other hot
he's
chick.
a doctor.
So I was like, he's a doctor. So I was like, no, I wanted another scientist to be like, you know what? Come up with a folder that says not RoboCop, but it says some type of like electronic man or some shit, and drops it like, yo, I have this thing
Project
that could change
341.
The world. Yes, Project 1978 or 87, which is the year of RoboCop.
Project
1987. Yeah. You would be like, yo, they were like, you know what? We need somebody. Alex Murphy dies. They use it, and then bam, RoboCop. I would have been like, that's dope. But he didn't have that clash with people. He was just a dick CEO, and I was like, nah, I wasn't into it much. I was just like, and I didn't get my scene where he was like, I can't handcuff him because his directives. It was that stupid band that if it's red, he can shoot you crap. I didn't like that,
that's
bro.
not as good as it coming up on the screen, like, do not shoot.
Yeah,
it's true.
He's a head of whatever, and then the guy's like, you're fired, and he goes, thank you, and then he just shoots him through the window. And I was like, and then the music goes mad loud. We didn't get none of that, so I had to deduct it. So I gave it a 3. Michael Keaton was good in the role.
Sure, but the role's not as interesting.
He should have been the vice president or whatever of OCP.
Right.
And then you have an older guy running on top, like a Michael Douglas.
Right.
Being the old guy.
Oh, that would have been cool. Yeah.
It would have been a cool, to have him.
Because the guy in the original one, he's not bad. The head guy.
Yeah.
He's not. He is in the second one, but in the first one, he's not.
Yeah. No, you could have had Robert Redford.
Yeah, some old actor, actor. Do it. That would have been better. Yeah. Honestly.
I agree. Yeah. So anyway, I give that 3. You gave it a 3. Okay. Action scenes.
All right. Let me tell you something. I was so close. I'm going to explain myself. I almost gave this a 5. I gave it a 4.5. I'm going to tell you there's one specific reason why. First of all, this director, okay, his name is Jose Padilla. He's Brazilian. After this movie, he didn't really direct anything else. But before this movie, he directed these 2 action movies called Elite Squad. Okay, they're Brazilian. Maybe we'll do them one day on the podcast. Like, do some foreign action. These movies, they're kind of like the Brazilian, like, you remember the Raid movies? They're not martial arts, but they're like dirty cop, crooked cop, but they're like action R-rated. So he was a great choice coming in. I think he directed these action scenes with a lot of flair. I think a lot of them look really good. I love the motor when he's on the motorcycle and he goes to get the bad guy, the mob, and they're shooting. It's dark, and all you get is like muzzle flashes as lights. Brilliant. Love it. Great. I like the Ed 209 part at the end, like when he's way better than the original one, a million times better. See, they did CGI, but it looked good. Like they were fine. So no claymation, loved it. I wouldn't say this has a good amount of action, like enough that it could have got a 5. The 4.5 is because PG-13. And if this was R-rated and I'm getting like blood squibs and this would have been a 5. I'm not even lying. But coming from the original, which I would say the action in this is probably a little bit more flashy, that movie's gory as hell. And if this, or even if there was just a director's cut, you know what I mean? Where, release the PG-13, whatever. And then on Blu-ray, you just get like heads, 5. I would have given it a 5.5. But and this will be a rare case because there are PG-13 movies that I think I will give a 4. But when you're talking gunplay and there's no blood, I don't love that. So I'm going to give it as close to I can as a 5, a 4.5 from me. And I don't do 0.5s too often anymore, but I had to do it here.
All right. So when it comes to action, I totally agree with you. If it was rated R, this movie would have been amazing. Absolutely. I think that could have been another reason why it hindered in the box office.
True. People were like, a lot of people were mad about that. PG? Like, why is this PG-13 like RoboCop 3?
But I will say this. For a PG-13 movie, this action was phenomenal. Yes. And this is the reason why I'm giving it a 5.
Yes.
While I do understand yours, and that is a very good observation. I didn't totally blanked out on being rated. It wasn't rated R.
Yeah.
But I will say the reason why I'm giving it a 5, because when I left the theater in 2014, and I'm going, this is an amazing, best action I've seen, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. And it still holds up while watching it again.
It's true.
And that's why I gave it a 5. I was like, this action still holds up. Yeah. The Ed 209 scenes, even when they were practicing, looked dope. When he fought all those robots, and they were like, you have to shoot the 50. If I shoot you with the 50 caliber Tin Man, you go down. Yo, that scene was dope. You're right. The scene with the mobster was dope. My man walking into the police precinct, shooting his own cop. Loved it. And then he said, dude, that shit was so, he pimped people, bro. He literally told Lois, he was like, come with me.
Yeah.
He walked in, he sat down, and he was just like, you're dirty. You're under arrest. Yeah. And they were like, you got no proof. And then he showed it to everybody because he's locked into the, dude. I was like, this is so, you're right. If this guy did a great job with the action sequences. I thought it was fun. It was good. I love how he looked all torn up from the floor up when at the end of the movie, when he was about to fight Michael Keaton. Yep. And he was like, if you shoot me, Alex, you shut down. And he fought his inner mechanical brain and shot him and shut down. And I loved it. Yep. I action sequences, dude, I was like, this movie, I don't see why people don't like this movie, because this blows RoboCop 2 and 3 out the water. Not 1, because I love part 1.
No,
just like you.
This is easily the best since the first.
Yes, since the first. And if people be like, yeah, but it's not part. Yes, it is. I'll put RoboCop 1, reboot, and then everything else could go in the toilet.
I sold them already.
Yeah. I don't even have them anymore. Yeah. Yep. And you know what? You got the 2 best ones in that 4-film franchise.
I could see your 5. I wanted to. It was a personal choice. It was like, it has
But it's not as bad.
It has the amount and it has the stylishness of a 5. I wanted the R-rated because this should be an R-rated franchise. Sometimes it fits. This case it fit. But I'm not mad at your 5 at all.
No. I mean, you're right. I mean, it's just, I don't know, man. It's very hard to top the first, right?
Yeah.
Very hard. But even when you start the movie off in that Iran or whatever it was, and you saw all those robots in the street and they're doing the terrorists jumping and blowing up and stuff, and I was like, holy shit, this is really intense. I had to do it. And I gave it a 5. Fair. You gave it 4.5. I gave it a 5. All right, storyline.
All right. Here's probably my main gripe with this movie, besides the villains, is the story. It's fine. Like I said, it's very similar to the original. It tries to do some things different. For me, the different stuff doesn't always work. For example, I don't think they nailed the whole, big corporation, consumerism. None of the satire's here. And it's very prevalent in the first movie and works. Here, they tried something different. I mean, I respect it, with the whole Samuel Jackson being on the news thing and, pushing the agenda, using the media to push this agenda to have these robot cops in all the states. And then the politicians. I think maybe they were in over their head a little bit with some of that stuff, because it's just so and it makes the movie a little too, that's why I think it's too long, is some of that stuff. What RoboCop did a whole lot in 15 less minutes than this movie. You know what I mean? So I do like the story because, like I said, it has the bones of the original, and those are strong bones. The stuff that they changed or added, I can't say I hate it, but I don't think it's as good. So I gave it a 3. I think it's fine on the story level.
I gave it a 3.5.
Yes. Okay.
And this is why I gave it a 3.5. You're absolutely right. The structure of the story is 1987. Yep. My gripes is still there, though. I wanted a little bit of the villains from 87 in a modern world. I didn't like the media in this one. I liked the stupid commercials that they had. Now,
got the job done.
Yeah, if you didn't want to include it, I'm okay with it. Again, some people might like it, some people didn't. I enjoyed them, even all the way to, even RoboCop 2 and 3 have funny ones. Yeah. So I enjoy that type of comedy or whatever. I mean, just to lighten the load, I guess, in terms of storyline. But I wasn't feeling the CNN style in this movie. I was just like, they shut off the TV when the kid got shot by Ed 209, which I was like, holy hell.
And he gets rid of the other politician when they're like, he doesn't let him finish. Oh, thank you for coming.
Yeah.
Oh, whatever, you know.
Yeah, when Michael Keaton was like telling his side. Yeah. Like, so for me, I that was another thing also, the Senate and him fighting, OCP fighting with the Senate about robotic and people and having heart and, you know, making their own mind and shooting. I wasn't into that, bro. I wasn't into it. It should have focused more on Alex Murphy like the 87. Just focus on that. That was your strength. Right. And they had a lot of good stuff here. Like I said, they had great stuff here with Lois and all that stuff. So anyway, with that, I think 3.5 for me fit because I gave it a 0.5 because honestly, it was creative. They tried. That's the best way for me to say it.
I look at it like this. They were for baseball analogy, since we love baseball. Yeah. They were swinging for a home run, but they hit like a double. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, okay, that's still good, but it ain't a home run. And the first one knocked it out the park. So, you know, it's a difference. That's how I looked at it. It's like, man, they really tried. I respect them for swinging so hard. But it stayed in the park.
Yeah, you're right. And you know, even with the creator of RoboCop in the first one gets killed, right? It's like boom, right? But it doesn't affect RoboCop. Right. And this one, Gary Oldman is like trying to wake him because they're trying to kill him.
Yeah.
He's like, Alex, they're here to kill you. And then he pops up and then he gets all angry and he's like, stop, wait. They're trying to stop him.
He has a lot of help in this movie. Not in the first movie.
Yeah. So it was a lot of like, he got help. They fixed him up. And the other one, he was more.
He just had Lewis in the first movie.
Yeah.
She takes him to the factory.
In this one,
in here you got Gary Oldman's helping. His wife is running around being a pest to everybody. I don't know.
And my only letdowns, like I was saying, like I didn't want it similar to, but I just wanted a little bit more in the investigation of his death. Yeah. I felt like it was kind of quick. It was just like, oh, he's trying to solve his own murder. Oh, that's pretty good. It was all with media points and all this, and I was just like, it took me out of it. While the original, he was fighting that. Remember when he's in the chair, he does the
I love that part.
And he gets up quick.
Yeah,
it was. Yeah, I like that. But in this, we didn't get that. Mm-hmm. Like him fighting his inner robot, like his inner coding or whatever, his coding.
Right.
I wish we got more of that.
Yeah.
But we didn't. But again, it wasn't as bad. Like I enjoyed the movie. I thought it was really good. Yeah. To me, it was better than, I don't know what you're going to say, but to me, it was better than Total Recall. I got to watch this movie. Like,
absolutely. Sorry, Tony, if you're listening to this. This is a way better remake than Total Recall. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think it's way better than Total Recall for me.
For me too. For everybody but Tony, probably.
But with that said, 3.5, you gave it a 3 overall.
Well, I matched your last score. I actually gave it a 3.5 because when I score this, I'm like, this is a 7 out of 10 movie. It's pretty good. I would almost say if it wasn't called RoboCop, you know what it reminds? Wait, okay. I made this point when the movie came out, but the movie Upgrade that came out after this, but that felt like RoboCop-ish, right? Guy's injured. Yeah. He wasn't a cop, but same kind of idea, aided by, machine, computer solving a crime. And this came out before that. So it's almost like if it wasn't called and that movie was well received. I feel like if this wasn't called RoboCop and it was like kind of similar, maybe they did like a different look. Maybe they did.
Yeah.
I don't think people would dislike it as much. I'm being honest. I don't like, I think those 50 and 49 might be higher, but because it is RoboCop, it suffers a little bit because of comparison. Because you can't watch a remake of a movie and just totally ignore the movie it's remaking. Yep. So the main fault of this movie is that it's standing in the shadow of like one of the greatest sci-fi action films of the 80s. Other than that, I liked it. I think it's entertaining. It's not very funny, but it has good actors in it, good performances, really great action. A little long. I would shave off a good 15 minutes, but I like it. So I gave it a 3.5. I think it's very solid.
I gave this movie a 4. And hear me out. I know people are going to be like, what? 4? When I finish this movie, it's out of one, how do I replay this? Is this a movie that I could watch again? Yes, I could. I could totally put this on again. In terms of me thinking of other remakes in the genre of action, this has to be up there. Like, it has to be. I mean, I know RoboCop is below, like we said, and RoboCop 1 will always be in everyone's top 5, top 10 action sci-fi movies all the time. Great. But this movie's actually really good. Mm-hmm. It's not as bad like people make it to be. Like, people are like, oh, it's hard. No, it's not. It's actually really good. Like, I don't know. I just felt like this is a very good movie. It stands on its own. You're absolutely right. If you remove RoboCop, this thing I would have saw it. I would have liked it even better, maybe.
Yeah.
To be honest with you. So I thought it was cool. At least he didn't fly.
Also, and I also like the little bits that they use the original score. Like they use it on the opening credits, but it's like a little different. And then they use it on the news broadcast. Dun, 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 dun. I don't like those parts, but I like the music.
Yeah.
Remember part 2, they didn't even use the music at all, those idiots. They like totally made something
part
different.
3 they did, and it was pretty cool.
It was on the worst movie. They put the good music, and then on the I didn't like
semi-good,
but it had the worst music, and then this one had like little splashes of it. So that was smart, at least. It nostalgia.
All right. So what's your total points?
My total points is an 18 out of a 25. I think it's solid. It's definitely the best RoboCop movie besides RoboCop, the original, by far.
Yeah, I mean, does it need another remake? Absolutely not. No. I don't think they need one. But I thought they did a good attempt at one to try to continue the franchise, and it didn't work for many people. It worked for me, but I gave it a 19.5.
Nice
on the scale. So, all right, Nate, what is coming up next on the podcast?
All right, in a very weird twist, we're continuing on with comic book movies that never got a sequel month, and we're doing a movie that's kind of similar to RoboCop, which I did not mean to do, but it just happened to be that way. We're going to be doing Bloodshot from 2020, kind of a newer movie.
Yeah.
And then, you know what this means? End of a franchise means a new franchise is coming. We got a big one. This is a big one. This is one that is like very popular, has made a lot of money, and we're saving it all the way into the 450s to do. And we're going to be doing a little Martin Lawrence and Will Smith Bad Boys. So Bad Boys 2, Bad Boys Ride or Die, Bad Boys for Life. We will have a guest. Scott, he's been on before. He's our intern. He's official intern. Scott will be joining us for all of those. And then after the next episode, I'll announce the next theme to go along with Bad Boys. But I'm excited. I haven't seen 1 and 2 in I
haven't seen
forever.
Them. Yeah, I haven't seen them in a long time. Yeah. Same way, I haven't seen them in ages. Yeah. All right, guys, you guys want to follow us in our social media accounts? Please follow Nate over on Instagram at Netflix Reviews. Check out the podcast with him and his friends called Netflix Movie Reviews. You guys want to head over to youtube.com/Action Movie Guys so you guys can subscribe, leave comments on your favorite episodes, and of course, take us on the go with the Action Movie Guys podcast, available on all podcast platforms. Again, I'm your host, Ash Figueroa. My co-host is
Nate from Netflix Reviews.
Be awesome to each other and geek out.